Hi guys, I'm Dr. Tanya Jain from NDMC Medical College and Hindura Hospital, Delhi. I secured a rank of 142 in this year's November INICT and a rank of 1235 in this year's NEET PG. So I'm making this video about how I improved my exam giving skill, especially since I had very poor exam giving skill back in my UG days where I completely tanked my AIPMT. However, there were different papers like the IP paper in which I got through. So, but this time around, I only had two papers to rely on, that is my NEET PG and INICT. And so I had prepared very well on how I will approach both of these. So my main issue back in UG was that I was good with notes. I was very good with subjective papers and examinations like that. But when it came to objective papers and competitive exams, I seriously lacked the exam cracking skill. And because I was going into those papers with no strategy at all, which was such a blunder. This time around, I made sure that I have practiced enough GTs from the get-go so that I understand how many questions is it right for me to attempt. For example, I realized an average of 195 questions was the golden number for me, where I was getting maximum corrects out of the paper. So it worked very well for me both in NEET PG as well as INICT, and I focused more on how many corrects I was getting rather than my incorrects, especially for a paper like NEET PG, which is very, very high scoring. So, but each of your silly mistake or incorrect question will cost you heavily because these papers were so scoring. And so you need to get your easy questions and your basics very, very clear from the very beginning. And you don't have to overthink on the easy questions, thinking that this question is the differentiating question. Like everyone will mark A and I should mark B and get that right. But that doesn't happen mostly. So 70% of the paper is easy to moderate questions which are straightforward or they have a little bit of a twist, but you will get them right if you're paying attention to the question. But mistakes like missing the except in questions, all are true except, or which one is not true, things like that, these are definitely not silly mistakes. Again, they are big blunders which I used to recurrently make in many of my GTs, and I really worked enough to make sure that I don't make these mistakes on the day of the exam. So like this will only be sorted out if you practice enough papers and practice the fact that you have to pay attention in each and every question. You can't get tired till you reach the end of the question. So for that, I found it extremely useful if you read the last line first and the options to get a bit of an idea about what subject they're asking. Like it may seem like a medicine question in the beginning, but it turns out to be like they're asking you the drug of choice for it, so it turns out to be a pharma question. So read the last line in the options briefly and then start from the initial stem of the question, and be attentive from the very first line, because sometimes what happens is if you think that the question length is a little bit longer, you tend to read it like a paragraph and then you have to go again back to the first line, so it wastes a lot of time. So be attentive from the first question and get in a habit of maintaining your speed from the very first question, because most people they start out slow and tend to pick up speed, but the last questions become a little bit rushed. So it's important to practice the fact that you have to attempt about 35 questions in 30 minutes. This is something that works well for NEET PG, but for INICT definitely you have to do 35 to 40 questions in 30 minutes because you're getting half an hour less. There are also a decent number of controversial questions in NEET, but I feel if you're really stuck in them, you should go with the option that you think most people will mark, because that ways everybody will be wrong and it's okay. But however, if you mark something so atypical that only you are wrong, you're going to lose a footing because you're not competing with the paper, right? You're competing with all the other people. This is, of course, unless you feel very strongly about a particular option. but definitely you have to go aggressively in the number of questions you're attempting. Say, for example, if you have eliminated two options and you're confused between two, which happens for a lot of questions, you must go ahead and mark that question. You cannot leave that question unanswered. Like, for example, there was this question about uterocervical length, and two options were easily eliminated on the fact that this seems just too small and this seems too big. So you have to always attempt these sort of questions. Now, INICT is a slightly different ball game, primarily because the seats are so few. You need to get a very top-notch rank to even secure a seat. So your number of attempts has to be good enough. You have to again be very aggressive. Like for my this November INICT, initially I was only able to mark 188 questions out of 200, and I realized if I don't hit the 190 mark, I'm going to be out of the game completely. And for me to get a chance at a good rank, I must attempt like 195 because I knew my accuracy. So I had to have faith and just go ahead and make calculated guesses and mark 195 questions. Also, since INICT does not consider your reviewed questions for submissions, so I decided not to mark so many for review like I did in my NEET, and there were only about 4 questions I wanted to actually review, and I wrote them down on the rough sheet that they give. The INICT does give a rough sheet and the NEET doesn't. So this is something that I found very, very useful. Other than that, INICT does ask rare and difficult topics. But they also have niche topics that they recurrently ask. So previous year questions is such a boon if you are thinking of attempting this paper, and especially 3 years of AIMS papers, about 2 years of PGI, and like if you have time, 1 year of JIPMER is good to get the idea and focus on those topics that they repeatedly ask. And INICT also has a tendency to ask a lot of practical things, like for example, emergencies, trauma management, things like blood transfusion instruments. So these are heavily featured in the exam. And they also convert multi-correct questions into a single response. So I found that to be playing to my advantage, because you have to be good in elimination, and that will really help you. Because say a statement, one of the options is that A, B and C statements are correct, and if you know for sure that B statement is incorrect, obviously that option is ruled out. So this paper is not only testing your theory, it's also testing your analytical skills and a lot of common sense as well. So you have to be able to think on your feet and be very, very attentive, because this will have a number of questions that are twisted or controversial, like the language, like reading in between the language of the question. So that really makes a difference in this paper for sure. Although there are straightforward and easy questions, but such questions also feature. And something that people underestimate is the weightage of basic sciences, especially in this paper, because they ask core concepts from first year and second year very heavily. For example, anatomy, they love specimens, like all sorts of different cuts and specimens. They will ask. Physiology, there were about 4 to 5 numericals this November from basically general physio, NMJ, and your renal physio. So although I had not done the formula just prior to the exam, but since my general physio was good, so I was able to get all of them right, because the questions weren't difficult as such, but people pay more attention to systemic physio, and so if that is good, it will play in your favor. Similarly, biochem, a lot of core metab is asked. This time not much of clinical was asked from that. Pharma, they love updates like novel anticoagulants, etc., and pharma will have like a lot of questions like new treatments for progressive multiple sclerosis, or something that has come up recently has a high chance of featuring in your exam. Micro, the topics that we especially don't pay that much attention in our professional exam, they seem to be really interested in asking those. For example, parasitology has a very high yield, especially cycles. Earlier they were only CDC cycles, but now they even ask other cycles from other websites. But definitely parasitology and fungi. So even more than bacteria, these two topics I found were really, really high yield. And to brush up on the images, eggs and cycles one day before is a very good idea. So according to me, the most important tool is to give grand tests and give them regularly. So if you haven't given GTs yet, I really hope that after this video you give your first GT, because it's so very important. And try to simulate the exam conditions, like sit at a desk and sit for 3 hours to give your GT. Don't give it while half distracted, lying on the bed or something like that. And I know the first GT can be a bit intimidating, but it's okay if you don't score that well. Like for my first GT that I gave in the beginning of my internship, I only managed to score about 50% marks. But after that, close to the exam, since I continuously gave them and I monitored how my graph was going, so I was close to 160 to 165 corrects, which actually very accurately mimicked my actual NEET score. So it's good to get into that habit. But also, once you've given the GT, that's half the battle. The other half is to review it. Now, I completely empathize and understand that it can be a very tedious and monotonous task, but there's just no way around it. You have to review it, otherwise, your GT is incomplete. So, what I found was initially, because you have more time in the beginning of your preparation, it's good to review all questions, and you start from your bottommost subject and you make your way up. So for this subject wise review, I thought Marrow was had a good interface, and it also gave you like a percentile for each subject, so you can compare yourselves to the rest of the people. But your bottom three subjects is something that you have to work on in such a way that for your next GT, you should have three completely different subjects as your bottom three subject. Only then will they be rotating, and you will understand that you're working on all subjects. But close to the exam, I understand that you are pressed for time. So I found two ways to review the GT when I was pressed for time. One is definitely see all the incorrect questions. So you have to see them, and they will be a bit less close to the exam. And secondly, you can use I used to use the guest question feature for those questions that I wasn't 100% sure of while I was marking them during the test, and the ones that I needed some extra background information on, and I wanted to see that theory once. So I definitely did this kind of review. And if you are in a working internship, reviewing your GT is something that can be managed if you have like a duty which is of moderate workload, or even while commuting. Like I used to commute a lot between my home and college, so that time can be effectively utilized for this. And definitely, if you have some questions that were previously asked, like previous NEET, previous AIMS, and you got them wrong, or someone's that you are, you think they might be asked again in the future, so you can add them to your notes. Definitely bookmark them though. And another thing I found useful was that at one point my GT scores had become very, very stagnant, and I wanted to improve them further. So I realized that I needed to see exactly what area was my weakness, what kind of repetitive mistakes was I making. So I actually sat down with my younger brother. So although he did not know much of all subjects, but he knew basic sciences, and I just wanted to know how someone else was approaching those particular questions that I was getting wrong. So if you have a friend, a teacher, some of your seniors, that you could just ask for help, for some guidance on how they're approaching, which might be different, but it might help you out. Otherwise, you can do this yourself also, but make sure you understand the kind of questions you're getting wrong. For example, maybe you're getting the cancer stagings wrong. Maybe you're getting some classifications like Glasgow classification wrong. Or maybe you're just getting some factual things like, some properties of a microbe, or maybe that is your weak point. Or you're getting something like instruments or procedures wrong. So this way, like, you have a particular area that you're weak at and you can work towards it. And this should definitely help in improving your GT. Overall, I feel close to the exam. 1 GT a week is a good target, and provided you can review it. And I gave a mix of GTs, so I gave from DAMS as well as Marrow as well as Bhatia Institute. So Marrow I found was the middle ground. Like, it had standard questions, difficult, easy, both, and easy interface. DAMS was one notch higher, and Bhatia was, I always scored better in the DBMCI papers, and it did sort of mimic the actual scores that I got for my NEET. But you can choose any. If you had to go with just one, I would go with Marrow. But it's good to give national mocks of like different institutes, because usually large number of people are giving them, and you can have like a little bit of an idea of where you're standing, what your probable rank might be, or at that point of time in your preparation how well you're doing. If you've stuck around till the end of the video, thank you so much, and I hope this helps you out. And if there's any particular area you would want me to make a video on, just let me know and I'll try and do that. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye bye.